had to choose.
Is this a Reddit question?
Dicks or butts, if you had to choose.
Butts for me.
Why butts?
Why butts?
Are we talking about to draw or to possess?
I mean, you can just let yourself go in whatever direction.
Oh, I've let myself go a long time ago, trust me. Don't worry about that.
I mean, butts for me, but mostly because they're more fun to draw. They're more fun to look at, and I'll draw a butt and go, ooh.
I've just aroused myself slightly, but if I'm drawing a dick, I'm too busy trying to make sure it's realistic enough.
Dave's extremely good at drawing realistic penises.
I look at my own a lot, so.
Yeah, explain yourself.
As a reference. I have the thumb out like that, but it's my dick.
And our question for you is, what is your favorite color?
Loki. I'm sorry. Well, I forgot. What was the question?
Favorite color.
Oh, color.
What?
Black.
Black? Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Love
Solid
it.
choice.
Thank you so much.
Arguably not a color, but also definitely a color. Hello.
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 How many more expansions for Joking Hazard do you have planned?
That's a good question. We got some coming up that we're really excited about, but I don't think we've gotten to that point where we're drawing a limit yet. I don't want to say too much, but the next one that's coming up, I'm especially excited for.
It's a very, very thrilling, and it's kind of a step up from what we usually do as well. So. We can't give anything away.
Yeah, I really want to. I really want to just spill all the beans. But yeah, it's coming up soon. Do you have a favorite expansion? Yeah,
we've thoroughly enjoyed Toking Hazard.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have.
Hell yeah.
We also enjoyed the inclusion of the rolling papers.
Exactly. Thank you. They're long, right? They're super long.
They're good.
Yeah. So get them cuffs. You want to ask this question?
I have a question. What is your favorite cryptid? Supernatural animal.
Ogopogo.
Ogopogo.
What is Ogopogo? I have
He's
no
a
idea.
plesiosaur.
A plesiosaur.
Plesiosaur.
like Nessie, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it! I'm not supposed to.
Conversation ends here.
Thank you so much,
fucking
man.
Nessie, okay? You don't talk about Nessie.
You, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How did you come up with Eat My AIDS?
Well, we had a big discussion.
I played that game with my parents.
Oh, nice. What?
And my kindergarten teacher.
Are we gonna have angry parents and kindergarten teachers coming after us?
No, they fucking
No,
loved
it's
it.
Sweet.
It's weird, man. I took the game to my wife's Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And all the baby boomers, they're the fucking nastiest at this game that you've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Throwing down the wars card.
My mom tells me to bring over the game with the guys with the little chubs.
They get rather
Well,
large.
I'm glad you invited both of us. Oh, yeah. Really kind.
So as far as how we came up with the Eat My AIDS, I think it just was very natural.
Rolls off the tongue.
When a giant stream of blood is shooting out of a penis, what would you yell?
Would you yell, "Yay, it's Christmas"?
Happy New Year.
Actually, that is your question.
Yeah, that is the question. Yeah.
What would you yell?
I know takes a lot of deliberation.
Don't think about it.
I
just say
swear
what's
this
in
is
your
the
heart.
first time this has happened.
I like it. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
man.
Next. Hello,
All
sir.
right. Hello. So, given the nature of you guys' comics, I assume you guys get a lot of like nasty threats to stop and stuff.
Mhm.
So, what is the funniest, or like the stupidest, or like the downright worst threat that you've gotten?
I'm going to leave that to you because I would be telling your story if you weren't here.
Oh, really? You don't get you don't get
Actually,
enough
no.
threats, huh?
Huh? No, people don't bother with me enough to
There
get
was that
threats,
one guy.
But
There was that one guy who was after you for
what
years. I forget his name.
the guy on Twitter that kept heckling me.
Yeah, the Twitter guy.
Yeah.
You're Irish.
There was, because I was Irish, yeah.
Yeah.
He called me like a Mick bastard and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. For like days. He was just so pissed that Dave was Irish.
There was also our very first or second trip to San Diego International Comic Con.
Oh, no, the first one.
Was it the first one?
Yeah, we
Oh,
got
yeah.
a death threat at our first convention.
Wow.
Some guy, before we even arrived there, some guy had sent us an email saying he was going there specifically to murder us.
Oh.
It was great because we were walking to the convention, to San Diego Comic-Con, and it was our first time being there officially, and we're all tired as hell, and we're like, well, if you know, it's been nice knowing you guys, and you know, Dave was like, oh yeah, that guy's gonna come kill us. Yeah, I could have slept in. And one threat that I really enjoyed was this thread I got. This guy sent a message to my Facebook page saying, hey, your avatar, your picture, your profile picture really offends me. Will you take it down? And it was literally just one of my characters clicking its heels and jumping up in the air going like, yay. And I didn't say anything. And then he comes back like a month later and says like a bunch of things like, you draw like shit. And I just responded, you're an emotional roller coaster. And then he just launched off into this giant threat, like, fuck you, I can knock you 900 yards from where you stand. I was the top golfer in my high school. I'll punch you right in the fucking face. I'm going to fuck you up and all this and stuff. And, you know, it's just paragraphs. And I just asked, please don't golf me. And, yeah, I mean, we got a really good one. It wasn't a death threat. But I don't know. We get a lot of hate mail that we find hilarious. We made a poster out of
all the hate
a lot of our
yeah.
real hate mail. And yeah, one woman was so pissed that she got her 7-year-old daughter one of our books and took a 14-hour flight to Australia. And then by the time they got to Australia, that's when she noticed the kind of stuff that we write and was mad at us. And so he had a lot of.
What'd she say?
Oh, she was just saying how we're so sick and like we targeted her kid. He's like, oh, you.
No, we targeted your wallet, dude. Not your kid.
Right. Yeah. And that's actually on the poster. And yeah, she was. Yeah, I love that. I love when people are bad parents, but they have us, you know, to lean on as far as the scapegoat. You had 14 hours to fucking at least look at it. You put it up to the counter, you bought it, you didn't flip it open. Any page would have showed you it's not for a 7-year-old. And yeah, you want to take the question for this guy?
Yeah. Speaking of such, how's your family doing? They all right?
Oh yeah, my
We keep-
family's doing great. Yeah.
We're good.
No death
You good?
threats yet.
Nothing new.
No
Yeah.
death threats?
Yeah, no, not yet.
Oh man, it makes you feel alive though.
Yeah.
It
that's
does,
true.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
You want to like
I'm
give me a
glad to hear-
death threat so I feel alive, or like a?
Here, yeah. Here, yeah. We're gonna kill you when you least expect it.
Oh, okay.
Dave and I.
Okay.
We're gonna make sure you're the last one in this room when everyone else leaves.
All right. Thank you.
Dude, that feel better? Thank you so much, man.
Say hello to your dad for me. Hello.
Hello. My question is, what has been the biggest challenge between just animating for cartoons and animating for a video game?
Yeah, that's a good question. As far as animating for cartoons and stuff, I'd say, I guess the biggest challenge is to kind of show up and be there and do your best to write funny things and come up with funny ideas, even if you're not in a funny situation at all. Even if things are going bad, and just kind of show up and try to make the best of something like that. And animating cartoons, one of the most, I guess, for the game is we are animators and we are artists at the end of the day, and just like figuring out the balance of how to put that into a game engine and get it the way that we want it, everything like that. That's it's been both like really cool and really challenging at the same time, because we're used to doing, you know, you go to script and then you see an animatic and you're seeing this progress.
And we're meticulously sort of timing things out, you know,
Yeah.
to kind of extract the most comedy from them. But with a game,
Yeah,
people are going at their own pace through the story and stuff like that.
right. You're doing so much writing, and there's so much artwork being made, and then it takes a longer period, and then suddenly it's up and it's moving around, and you can mess with it. So it's been like rewarding in that sense, because it's a new medium, and we get to have a lot of fun when we're trying out, you know, animations, but it's interactive and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's been great. But yeah. Mostly because we are, at the end of the day, we're artists, and luckily we have some really good people helping us out, really good people developing the game and stuff like that. Because if it was in our hands to do like coding for the game, oh man, it would be a 2003
Yeah,
Flash
it would
game.
be some game made in Java from 2004.
Yeah. Hey, it'd be like your fish game you made back in the early 2000s. Dave made a old Flash game when we were little.
Oh,
ones.
one of the first things I ever showed you at the turn of the millennium, where I was. It's a game where it simulates your mother.
Yeah.
And you're in her first person, and you shoot different types of fish out of her vagina onto a target.
Yeah. You try to hit the target with the fish. You can pick which fish she's birthing out.
Goes
or-
from stickleback right up to shark, blue whale. Technically, it's not a fish, but I thought I'd throw it in there anyway for all you whale lovers. And but that was one of the first things I showed to Chris, and he's like, "Yeah, let's stay friends, you fucking weirdo."
yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Do you want to ask him a question?
Yeah, hold on. I got a question for you. Let's see. I was not prepared for this. Let's see. Favorite sex position? On the spot.
On top.
Yeah. Good answer.
Why?
So you can hit with your cowboy hat
Because
and get it moving.
So you can you have your DS up here. While you're talking.
because then you're not fighting gravity. It works in your favor.
That's true. You just fall.
Oh,
You
a
just-
scientific answer.
Yeah. I like that. That's very reasonable.
Very logical. I can't dispute that.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
What is your first earliest art memory of some sort, like a drawing or a popsicle stick figure or something like that that you made?
I mean, for me, I'm an only child. My dad worked up at the local university at the time, and he would bring a lot of old sort of textbooks and stuff back from there. So the house was always full of like just fun shit to draw, like stuff about cars and planes and boats and all that sort of thing. And I drew a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine and stuff when I was about 3 or 4. So
That is,
clearly that's worked in my favor up till this day.
yeah. Yeah. How did you knew that Thomas the Tank Engine was going to be your thing?
I knew he was going to be big again.
Yeah.
I was just biding my time.
Exactly. I remember getting into just kind of drawing when I was about in kindergarten, first grade, and I remember the thing I drew and kind of running up and showing my parents was a robot. He was like, he had a bunch of arms coming out of him, and they had like muscles and shit. And he was, and like weapons and stuff. I don't know, I was a product of America. I loved violent TV and stuff like that. But he was attacking some kid. With all his.
So whose side were you on? Were you the kid or were you the robot?
It's on the robot side. Who wouldn't be on the robot side?
I mean, if it was an actual fight, sure. If I was putting bets on it, yeah. That kid's fucked.
Yeah.
My point was, as a kid, did you not empathize with the child having to fight the robot?
I guess not. No, I guess not. What do you think that says about me?
You're a sick fuck.
Yeah. I mean, kids get enough empathy. Why not the robots? All right. Question time. Throw a fastball.
Oh, man. If you could throw a fruit at that wall to make sure it sticks, what fruit would you choose? Serious question.
A riddle.
Strawberry.
Strawberry?
I'll accept it.
All right. Yeah, 10.
10. Thank you so much, man.
What up?
Hey.
Sup?
Will you knight me?
Is that how it works? Well, I mean, you're with the monarchy.
I'm not.
No?
Wrong side there, buddy.
Whoops. I mean,
How do we knight you? Do we do this number?
Yeah, I guess.
yeah.
Come on up.
Yeah, sure.
What is your title?
You got to give it. Oh, really?
Really?
That's awesome.
Sir, from Waddington, England, 13th line of the joke ship, I now pronounce you Sir Knighty McGibbons. That's a real thing, what I just said.
Nighty McGibbons?
Yep,
I know by it.
I swear by it. I got it tattooed in my back.
Okay. You really? Let's see it. Nighty McGibbons, your
Sir.
question today. Thank you for your is it service? Is that what you do?
Huh? Night
Servitude.
service.
Thank you for your
Do you feel
service.
safer with this guy here?
Yeah. He's got a weapon. He's good. If that guy from San Diego Comic-Con comes in here with a gun sword or something, we'll be fine.
Okay.
We got a knight now. We have our own knight in this panel.
Are you our personal knight now?
Yes, I belong to your household.
Great. Okay. This worked out in our favor, I think, more than your favor.
Your question is, if you had to describe yourself, like what meal describes you best?
That after Thanksgiving sandwich you make with everything in it.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah! Give him a
good
round of
answer.
applause.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So this is a very generic question.
Okay.
But why did you start Cyanide and Happiness?
We basically were constantly doing cartoons, and it's how we met. Cyanide and Happiness is kind of when we stopped doing animations and just wanted to make each other laugh. It's kind of like when you send notes across class and everything, except it's with the internet, with very questionable strangers. And
Wait, what are we explaining here exactly?
why we started Cyanide and Happiness?
Oh, why we started Cyanide and Happiness? Well, it's kind of, we all met on a
Lesbian chat room.
where we found out our main passion was cartooning. So
And scissoring.
Alrighty then.
Can you feel the tension?
we'll be back in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But we all met on a website called, I don't know if any of you remember Stick Death or anything like that way back in the day.
Yeah.
Cool. And so we were kind of fans of that, and we decided to try making our own animations and submitting them to this other website, kind of like Newgrounds and stuff like that. And we all became fans of each other's work through that. And when it came to Cyanide and Happiness, we were all sort of going to college and doing other things that might eat up a bunch of our time animating, so we thought we'd try comics instead.
Yeah. We kind of were just passing back and forth trying to make each other laugh, and then out of nowhere, it's like, oh, we got like 80 of these. Maybe we should do something with them and put it up. But yeah, we were very much from this weird side of the internet that was all about stick figure violence. And we've come a long way since then. All right, yeah, question time. Get a sizzler.
A sizzler.
Yeah, it's piping hot.
What would be your ultimate breakfast?
I think I'm thinking something from Cracker Barrel because I don't have that here, and I used to live in Florida, and they had them everywhere.
Oh, what do you have in Cracker Barrel?
Hash brown casserole, yeah, definitely. My mom used to work there, and she made the best hash brown casserole. She
Cool.
still does.
Okay.
That's amazing.
That's wonderful, yeah.
That makes me hungry. All right,
Again,
handle
hash
over.
brown casserole, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a big applause for hash brown casserole. Thank you so much.
I'm really short.
Hi.
Hi.
You can tilt it down if you need.
Yeah,
By the
hold it
mic.
like
By the
Like
mic.
Aerosmith?
old-fashioned singer.
Croon into it.
There you go.
I like that. That makes more sense. So you guys went from like a strip to an animation to there's a card game to now there's going to be a video game. Is there some kind of like planned progression, or does shit just like fall into your lap and happen?
Our plan is just to take over the world, make it a lot more worse, a lot more
The ultimate plan
perverse.
is to have a monopoly on all drinking water
Yeah.
and
And then-
upsell.
Yeah, we are going to own all the drinking water. We're going to poison the ocean. And then world domination. And then
That's fair.
we can
There's a few
give up
steps in
cartoon
between
game.
there, but that's the overall plan, really.
Is
Yeah.
is there something that comes after video game?
Well, we've always
very-
wanted to do like I guess we wanted to do a musical, like a full musical.
That's true. We've been talking about doing that for years.
Yeah. We've done musical episodes and stuff like that, but I want to do one and then take it to Broadway. Oh, Lord.
But we're very fortunate to be able to kind of, still, there's a lot of things that we still want to do, and we're very fortunate to be able to, find some of those opportunities and definitely continuing to just make stuff that we hope you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really fun for us when we get to try out new mediums and mess with stuff. Like, we made the random comic generator, which turned into a card game, and all the different avenues that we do like that just kind of lets us still have fun with it.
Yeah.
Try fresh things, experiment around and everything. And yeah.
So as long as we keep, experimenting, it's going to go on indefinitely.
Yeah. I think we also need to corner the sex toy market at some point.
Oh, we received a bunch of Cyanide and Happiness butt plugs from someone anonymously.
Yeah.
I don't know where they came from. One just landed on my desk one day. And I was like, oh, shit, where have you been all my life? But
was it
oh, you were in my
used?
Huh?
Was it like partially used?
No, it was clean.
Okay.
I think. I gave it a sniff to make sure. It was fine.
Yeah. It wasn't warm already?
Oh, thank you for keeping that warm for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you receive like just butt plugs in your mail, you don't know if it's
like a bullet,
gift or,
nearly. Imagine if it had your name on it like a bullet. It's like, you watch your back.
Yeah, you watch.
You just
back.
you look
Someone's gonna be up
behind
there.
you. Someone's gonna come up and slam it in your butt.
It's terrifying. Chills to this day.
Yeah, that scary mob.
Okay, your question is, if you were trapped in a room all by yourself, there's nothing to use. How would you kill yourself? We've asked each other this.
Yeah, so we know.
Yeah.
Now we need to know about you.
Well, if I answer, then will you tell me your answer?
Yes, absolutely.
Am I wearing clothes?
That's
Whatever
your
you
call,
want.
really. Depends how you like to spend time in a room.
'Cause, I mean, there's nothing in a room.
I chose to wear no clothes.
I chose to wear just a condom.
But I'm thinking if there's nothing in the room, you don't want to starve to death. That sucks.
Yeah, that
You
takes too
probably
long.
want to try and hang yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll accept that. So you're talking about like using clothing, kind of like prison style.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Mine was I wanted to basically fall on my thumbs and see, like, just kind of forward, see if I can get him back far enough.
I don't think you can.
I've been waiting to tell people my great suicide idea
Doesn't
for a long time.
sound like a good idea.
Yeah. How about you, Dave? How would you do it?
I'd probably bend over until I can try and suffocate in my own butt.
That's a nice way to go. Very.
Well, maybe for some people. It'll be agonizing and pleasurable in equal measure, but that's the sweet caress of death for you.
All right, fair.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for your sterling answer.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So, you guys are kind of got the market cornered on distasteful humor, shall we say?
Sure.
Has there ever been a comic that has been passed, either you guys have done or your co-conspirators have done, that you were like was too distasteful for you? And if not, which comic have you felt the worst about publishing?
Well, I mean, when it comes to like, has there been anything that we're like, whoa, that's too far? Not exactly. We never really went out to be offensive. We just kind of found out we're offensive.
It's not like we set out to offend, by creating the comics. It's just stuff that we laugh at when we're kind of like sharing ideas with each other.
Right.
And that's what goes up, regardless of if it's distasteful or not. And sometimes we've just done like, very safe-looking Sunday funnies as well.
That's true. Yeah, we're all over the place. But I guess with, do you have one that you think is?
I'm trying to think of one, and
my
it's
mind
just
goes
because
to
there's so many.
the depressing comics. There's a lot of them where I'm like, ouch, yikes, and then send, show everyone. Outside of the depressing ones, I guess there was one where I made probably 8 years ago, where it's about baby Osama bin Laden.
Weirdly enough, I was going to mention that one too.
Were you?
Yeah, let's go.
Jinx. Okay, I'll explain it. He folds up a paper airplane and throws it into a guy, and he just kind of bursts and crumbles. And for some reason, I released it on September 11th, a couple years later, just because I was thinking of the date. I'm like, oh, hey, there's an idea.
Let's see what happens if I...
Yeah. I was responding to a lot of emails that night. But it's just baby Osama. That's all it was. It's everything that happened except it's a baby and a grown-up guy. It's not even clever.
Ooh, can we ask him a question now?
Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Go for it.
What is the most distasteful thing you've ever done? Give me your secrets. My wife?
Mine.
Okay.
I don't even know. I've probably made a couple of 9/11 jokes in my day that may not have been in very good taste. I can't think of
God,
any
it's
off the
always
top.
coming back
Thank
to
you.
9/11. Yeah.
Well, there's-
we're starting a support group for people who make
It's-
9/11
yeah,
jokes and it doesn't go over well.
It's kind of the defining "don't talk about it" event of our life.
Yes.
So, like the Holocaust 4 years earlier or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an old hat, right?
Yeah.
Gotta keep it fresh.
You got to keep it contemporary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hello,
Hello.
sir.
Hi.
Sup?
So I wrote mine down because I knew I was going to forget it. So back to the death threats and that guy's question, coincidentally.
Okay.
What comic you wrote seemed to piss off the most people? And how many more strips did you do on that joke just to piss them off more?
Well, yeah, a little echoing a little bit of what we said earlier. We never really oh yeah, this is the most offensive thing. Great. Oh, we're gonna get these guys. Nothing like that. But oh man, it's really hard to tally what has offended people the most.
Sometimes it's I feel like sometimes we do these sort of entire weeks worth of comics that kind of follow each other.
Well,
And I don't know, they're just very different, or they start in some sporadic way. For example, at a convention one time, you basically made a comic that said it was a banana, and it said, it was a banana in some other banana's skin, and it said psycho underneath it. And then the next day,
Yeah.
Rob just threw up a drawing of an orange.
Yeah.
And then the day after that was a fucking pineapple. And so basically it became Fruit Week, where it's we're just drawing nice pictures of fruit. And our fan base is like, what the fuck is this?
I would.
Where's the comics?
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of confusing the most people.
Confusing, yeah.
I'm not sure if they were offended
Offended by a banana?
Yeah.
No.
We get it. Something that it's interesting, especially with our animations, is you'll notice that people think that it's a rule that you can't kill the dog, that the dog can't die. We had one animation called Sad Ending, where a guy goes into a massage parlor, he orders the sad ending instead of the happy one, and the masseuse she's crippled. She just walks over and turns on some real World War II footage and euthanizes a sick dog, and then goes to jerk the guy off. And people couldn't handle a sick dog being put down. That was the part that was too far. Everything else, sure.
The World War II footage, great.
Yeah.
But the dog, no. Save the make-believe dogs, Someone,
Yeah.
won't someone give them a home?
We brought that dog into this world.
We need to make a short that's just all the dogs that we've maybe put down within our shorts, and then have them freely running around in dog
in heaven?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that everyone can go, they're okay. They're all okay.
Oh, they're okay.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
They're fine.
But yeah, we've noticed there's definitely people are like, I'll laugh at your jokes about murder. I'll laugh at your jokes about suicide, but the dog? Now, sir, that is too far. And I don't know. We're not. I don't think we're gonna stop anytime soon with something like
Yeah, it's
no animal is sacred. We'll just
we'll kill
we'll
all
move down
sorts
the
of
line.
animals. We'll kill bald eagles.
Yeah.
Well, very endangered stuff.
Just schools of tuna.
What's a short gonna be where we're just killing an entire school of 10-foot-long fish?
A literal school. There you go.
Yeah. With a knife, though.
Anyway, if you could choose an animal to kill, what would it be?
Your dog.
Nice. I love
Joke's
it.
on you. I have 2 cats. Help me.
Oh my, this is tall. Hi.
Hello.
What inspired you to make this truly majestical comic?
Wow, thank you. Majestical.
Majestical.
Like
the wings of an eagle.
I think mostly it's a lot of like gray matter and poor child development, and I think the internet lets us get away with a lot of like
bitter social experiences.
Yeah.
And working that into art.
Yeah.
You'll-
The artwork.
Every time I look at one of our comics, I think, oh, that's so arty.
Right.
Very art.
I always sit back and size it up with my thumb.
Yeah.
And then it's ready.
Beautiful.
Click this. Baby Osama is what I call it. Yes. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit natural for us because before Cyanide Happiness, we were making a lot of very like stupid, violent cartoons that didn't do any good service to anyone. But
I think the truth of the matter is we're really shit at everything else.
yeah, we have no marketable skills.
Yeah. So we need to keep doing this or else we'll die.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Our pacemaker is
It's like
connected
that
to our
movie
website.
In Time.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
You ever see that?
No.
Let's not talk about it right now. Do you have a question for this lady?
I do.
Oh gosh.
Let's see. If you could choose to make a video game character real and have a romantic night with it, which video game character would that be?
I have no idea how to respond to that. I don't know. I really like The Legend of Zelda, so.
Nice. There you go.
Legend of Zelda.
So Zelda, the princess.
Zelda the princess.
No, Link.
Okay, Link.
Let's just
Got
use
it.
Navi.
The princess.
Or Navi. That's a good one. I'm
Navi?
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Every time I see Kirby, I'm like,
I was about to say Kirby.
ooh. You too? Back off, bitch. He's mine.
Just Sonic.
That's so strange.
Yeah. Oh. I think we got some competition going on here.
Applause.
Oh, shit.
For Kirby's heart.
Cue the applause.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Has anyone asked for you to do like an advertisement campaign for their product or service? Or if not, what would you like to do?
Oh man.
Oh,
We have done some in the past. I remember there was Orange Mobile.
we did.
Yeah,
We did
like
a bunch of stuff for Sony.
yeah, some stuff for Sony here and there.
I don't know if there's like ones that never came to fruition or anything, or if we I guess we can talk on ones that we passed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We did we got this submission from Denny's to do like a
Good answer.
to do like a
about
6 they wanted us a mini series of stuff to promote their new Grand Slam.
And they came
And
to the right guys.
Yeah, they came because fuck knows I love breakfast. But they were like, yeah, we really want your edgy humor to kind of blend with our, or the appeal of the Denny's Grand Slam. And so we came up with a bunch of guys called the Good Time Breakfast Bunch.
That's right.
featuring, characters like hash browns, egg, sausage, except they're all wildly racist.
Some of them a bit psychotic.
One of them's a bug catcher.
Oh, you mean, yeah, bug
He just
catcher.
loves to spread all sorts of disease.
One just wants to spread disease.
I'm a fucking monster.
Is that hash browns?
It's hash browns.
Yeah, hash browns just want to spread disease.
I kill myself, but I'm a coward.
And if you saw the illustrations that we sent, you wouldn't even recognize it was from us. They were
Fucking
horrendous. It was really one of those we don't want to say no, but we want to show them that we're not the people for it.
So we did send that to them. No response. And I believe the Robot Chicken Studio got it in the end.
Oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Really?
So you can see some sort their idea of the Good Time Breakfast Bunch. But you might see ours someday.
If it doesn't have, a Linka sausage that has internal conflicts with his struggles with pedophilia, then...
Or a slab of bacon who just wants to fuck dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think Egg was kind of the only female, and she was an addict.
Yeah.
Beaten
Struggling.
by the rest of them. They were all fucking horrible characters.
It wouldn't make you want to eat breakfast.
Well, it might. Like stress eating breakfast.
All right, yeah, you got a breakfast. We've done a lot
We
of
already did a
breakfast-related
breakfast
questions.
question. Yeah, we did. Where'd you get that shirt?
Threadless?
Where?
Threadless.
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 If you don't, just telling people, if you don't recognize it, this is the pattern that Homer Simpson wore when he had that moo-moo when he was trying to weigh 1,000 pounds.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's awesome. Do they have the real moo-moos? Does Threadless do moo-moos?
No.
God damn it.
Fuck you, Threadless.
Thank you
Your
so
lack
much,
of
man.
moo-moos.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hello.
So, after I'm forced to drink your water and have a butt plug shoved up my ass.
What? Wait, I haven't asked you to do any of this. Please continue.
Well, you know.
Are you trying to incriminate us, sir?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
He's incriminating himself. That's what's happening.
How would you end mankind?
Oh. That's a good one. That is a tough one.
Well,
I think if we manage to make the moon look like the best ass,
everyone would reach up and try to grab it, by which point you could have an army of drones slide into their arms, severing them.
Oh, wow.
And they'll bleed out through their arms.
Are they just outside,
Everyone's
flying towards
outside
the moon?
trying to grab this amazing butt. And you'll have people in planes going past, bursting through the window,
Yeah.
trying to get the ass.
Okay.
Immediately sucked out the window and killed.
So that's hugely elaborate.
Did you have something a bit more simple?
I mean, I like that. I like that.
There you go.
I mean, I'm not sure if everyone will die. I just think we won't have hands anymore.
What was your fucking solution?
Well, I was going to try to trick people into going there. And then maybe blow it up. But, drones...
You want
cutting off
8 billion
everyone's arms.
people to go, off to the moon we go.
Yeah! If it looks nice enough. But, I don't know. Maybe that is a bit more elaborate.
I can't say, man. I think both of them are good ideas and we should collaborate sometime.
No, shit. We just told everyone what our idea is. That means, I don't know if it's going to work on everyone then. Well,
We're
we'll
going to
work
have to
up
put a
the copy.
copyright in that first. So
Yeah.
no one else tries it.
Yeah. Don't try that.
Okay. Our question is, now that you know our evil plan to destroy the world, how would you stop us?
Oh, man.
I know, right? This is like Crossfire.
I mean, he's saying butt plug in the moon, but that doesn't make it any less tempting.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, what?
I mean, maybe you should form like tick clouds to like keep them on Earth.
Clouds.
Okay.
You know,
If that's a good.
so like
overcast.
Overcast. You know, kind of keep it.
So
you know,
okay, so we can't see the moon.
So we can't
All we
keep the
see
moon.
is your
It's,
beautiful
just these-
dripping cloud breasts.
Exactly. That's.
Here's your problem. I can still get everyone with my drones.
Shit, you're right. Damn it, you got me there. I was thinking about keeping us on Earth, you know.
Okay, so your problem is X, but I'm still flying high.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. I was just wondering what your mother's maiden name were.
Maiden name.
Maiden name.
Yeah.
And do you need the like first model of our car? And the name
favorite
of our
first pet. Maybe?
Sorry, what was that?
Favorite first pet, maybe.
That's a great question.
He's doing it in broad daylight. He's doing it properly.
Yeah.
They'll never find me here.
Do you need any social security numbers or anything like that?
Just the elementary school you went to.
Okay. Mountain View Elementary. Peterson.
Yeah?
Yeah, from a long line of Petersons. It's this weird Mormon family. It goes back. It's odd. Don't look into it.
My mother's maiden name is McAllister, from the clan McAllister, which were originally from Scotland, but neither in Ireland as well. So there you go. And I went to a place called Milburn Primary School in Ireland as well.
So
Anyway,
come
there-
visit. And
well, what's your social
We can-
security number?
yeah.
Now that we gotta keep each other on track here.
Go ahead.
Is that the question? There's some numbers in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
A 4.
Uh-huh.
I think there's a hashtag in there.
Okay. Is it after the 4?
No, it's a few digits before the 4. And,
Okay.
Hashtag 4.
Decimal 00 Batman symbol.
Okay. Any commas in there?
There's a semicolon.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Okay.
I think he's trying to trick us.
Oh, sounds legitimate.
Semicolon. Okay. So I'm gonna be trying this at the bank later. I'm convinced that it's gonna work.
Oh yeah, I guess we'll need your name. What's your name?
And your home address. In case this doesn't work.
And your annual income.
And could you provide 4 passport-sized photographs, please?
Yes, please. And move it along. There's.
Yeah. I could just email
Cool.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't email your clothes to us though, which I'm gonna ask for right now.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And I gave you like my email sign and
Oh, of
stuff. You
course,
can just
yeah,
email
yeah.
me from my account.
Mhm.
That works well. All right.
Yeah, I'm already in there.
All right.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's a great question.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So my question regards your sense of humor and whether you were born with it or if something broke you as a child.
I'm actually a really big fan of that question because
You need to talk about your terrible experiences, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can't remember.
Hooray!
I can't remember being like funny when I was like 6, 7.
My dad was really, really funny.
Yeah.
At least I always thought of him as master humor. And so, like, just listening to him, everyone in my tiny hometown absolutely loves my dad. He's very quick-witted, and I always wanted to kind of take after him a little bit,
He loves like
growing up.
poop and fart jokes.
He does.
A whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a classy guy. And, but he was kind of my very first inspiration when I was tiny. It was like, I want to be that guy that everyone laughs at his dumb jokes. And so here I am. What about you?
Oh, my dad's constantly making inappropriate jokes, and he's very funny. But there's a caveat to this because I broke my skull open here in Seattle when I was 13. I was skateboarding.
Yeah, thanks, Seattle.
Yeah, thanks a whole lot. I was skateboarding, and I had this brand new Walmart skateboard.
Well, there's your
Super
problem
nice.
right there.
What am I gonna get? A nice one when I deserved that.
What was it? A paper bag?
It was it's called a Hobie cat.
Okay.
Like a hobby cat, Hobie cat. Don't know how to say it. It's all misspelled and everything. But I was going down hills, and there's this thing called speed wobbling where you just can't control the shifting of weight, and then the board just kind of hit the wheels. I went flying. I cracked this side of my skull open, and it was awesome. It was rad. And I got sent. A couple people sent me this article that they've discovered that people who damage the kind of front right side of their skull have a tendency to chronically make puns, not know where the line is with jokes, and just kind of be generally chipper. And so my wife totally thinks that it's all from brain damage. And I can thank Seattle for that. And your question is, have you ever broken a bone?
I have not, which is really surprising because I actually play roller derby.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, and I've never broken anything.
Nothing. That's because you're so confident in your
Yeah.
bones.
I always
You
climbed-
crush people out
Yeah,
there.
I always climbed stuff as a kid too, and I just fell off and bounced. I guess I don't know.
Nice. Have you ever broken anyone else's bones?
I don't think so.
Well, I think you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Yep. Everything seems to be going okay so
Yeah.
far. Congratulations to you and your great skeleton.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi.
Hiya.
I was wondering what you do to get rid of your writer's block.
That's a great question.
It could be anything from us just kind of talking to each other and kind of getting loosey-goosey with ideas to staring at that wall and screaming until an idea comes out. But I find the best jokes, or at least the ones for me, are the ones that kind of pop into your head as one thing organically, where you might be just doing something and then whatever you're doing just gives you an idea. And you go, shit, I need to go draw that right now.
Yeah, like distracting yourself really does help with creativity. It does help when you're doing humor. It does help to, like, you have that feeling where you're like trying to make someone laugh and you say a joke and it feels a little bit more natural than when you're kind of just trying to will yourself into something like that. But distracting yourself is a great one. And also, I don't know, I get into these weird reading habits on Wikipedia where I just go into the weirdest stuff. Did you know they have like a 16-page article on rusty trombones? Like the sex
What's that,
thing.
Chris?
That's eating ass. That's eating ass. It's called a rusty trombone. And they have like 14th century cave paintings of it and stuff like that. And I'll just find myself like kind of doing a whole lot of like just odd reading, and it's my way of distracting myself, I guess. But it's an effort. You do need to kind of take creativity seriously and know that writer's block is a thing, and kind of prepare for it. Keep it. Make sure to keep yourself trying new things.
Keep yourself
fresh.
knowledgeable in a way as well, like always trying to learn new things. Even looking up a list of like old sayings, things like that.
Proverbs, idioms.
Proverbs and idioms.
Like I've gotten ideas from reading nursery rhymes, things like that. But that's our particular writer's block we got to deal with.
But we're very fortunate that we can always bounce ideas off each other as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm always impressed by some of the other guys that do webcomics out there. They're running Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they're sitting there by themselves like a lot of the time, just trying to come up with something. That they really laugh at. And so,
a lot
I
of
think we're quite fortunate in that way.
bouncing weird ideas. Like Dave asked me last week, have we done any comics that have to do with voodoo dolls and molestation?
In a courtroom, it was very specific.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, gotta look through the entire thing. Okay.
Yeah, open up the big brown book that's like
Big dusty
And it's
leathery.
like, yes, it seems here we did do a joke similar to that. Molestation, voodoo doll, but not directly molesting someone using a voodoo doll.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, we haven't done that idea. Put it in the manuscript for later. And so that's where that comic came from.
But if you got friends with, like, when it comes to humor, having friends with a similar sense of humor helps big time with writer's block.
And I mean, actually, a lot of our webcomic buddies are here.
Yeah.
I believe this year, like Death Bulge. Love Death Bulge. Who else?
Shen from Alturd's here. Yeah, we got a lot of friends here.
Yeah.
We can't list all of them here. But, we got hey, Dave, you got a question? You got a sizzling hot question?
Not off the tip of my tongue right now. Let's see. What do you think of our hats?
Your hats?
Yes.
Yeah, no pressure.
What's the worst thing you could say about our hats? I'm gonna put that down under this guy's social security number.
They're just peachy.
They're just peachy.
All right, I'll accept that answer.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. That might even be that guy's information with regards to getting into his bank card. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just peachy.
They're just peachy.
Okay.
So we're slowly building up a case here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So we know how you kill yourselves. You know how you kill all of us. How do you kill each other?
Each other.
Oh.
It's kind of a marry, fuck, kill kind of a situation.
Yeah.
We would kill each other by fucking after getting married.
Wait.
Wait.
Like, is it a
just
death by
one of you
snoo
die?
snoo kind of thing?
Kind of like we would both. There's nothing sexual about this. It's just that there's nothing, no other way.
I didn't say the room was
Is
empty.
we would have to perform an oral 69 kind of situation where we choke on each other's penises.
I got it.
Nothing sexual about it.
It's like a joust. But we come at each other in a 69 way.
Can you imagine medieval times? And they're on horses, butt naked, upside down.
Yeah. But nothing sexual. Well, we have a knight. Can he fill in for me?
Oh, he was sworn to protect both of us, though. So he has to be in the middle, like, picking us up and taking us off each other.
I want to be sitting in one of the tall chairs with, like, the princess cone hats and everything.
You want to be the one that goes, now feast!
Yeah. Exactly. That's our non-sexual way of killing each other. And we are running a little short on time, so we're going to have to do a bit of a lightning round. But yeah, please, whenever you're ready for the next question, let's do it.
Isn't it your turn to ask me a question?
Yes, it is.
something
Okay,
quick.
lightning round. Let's see. What do you think is the worst haircut? What kind?
Rat tail.
Nice.
Rat
I like
tail?
it.
Okay, perfect.
Great answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey guys,
Hello.
What's up?
what is your opinion on flat Earth?
My opinion on
My
flat Earth-
opinion on this flat Earth is it's a very flat Earth.
You're talking about this one?
Yes, this one right here that we're on.
I love theories like this. My opinion is that the British Navy that is guarding the ice walls at the edge of Earth needs to stop, come back home, and let God pass the ice wall. That's
a real thing.
That's a real
Everything
thing.
you're saying is something that someone believes.
They think that God is on the other side, just like
Hey,
let me in.
Hey, come on, guys. And only the might of the British Navy
Yeah, the British
can
Navy.
keep God out like some sort of Godzilla.
No, God, you're not coming in. You'll ruin our trading and economy.
Why did this come? Why did this fall at the feet of the British? Surely America could handle God far more swiftly.
You think so?
I think, yeah. I think he could be obliterated.
You know, there's already like a moon race. So let's see who can kill
Let's see
God
who kills
first. Okay. Question?
What is your favorite animal? Come on.
Man, I like animals. Let's go with the platypus.
Yeah. Platy.
It's a
Kill
fucked up animal. I love it.
platypus in next cartoon.
You're being greedy because you know part of it's a duck. Hi.
Hey.
Hello. Have you guys ever had a huge disagreement or offended each other?
Oh yeah, all the
and
time.
like stopped talking? What was it?
Not so much stop talking, but yeah,
We can argue like adults.
Yeah, we used to argue like children, but that's
Yeah.
because we were
big
children.
boys. We're big boys now
What-
with big
what-
arguments.
What was it that you disagreed on? Or argued about?
I honestly cannot remember the last time we disagreed with something so strongly. It
I just
definitely
want to see
happened
you
in our-
guys fight each other. That's
I
all.
know, right? You want to see that 69 jousting
Just,
thing?
like, could you just sock him in the face? One of you. You
I got it.
Knight, stay out of this.
I'll get a team of 5. You grab a team of 5, and we'll 69 joust. They run that. They hold us like a battering ram, and we'll run at each other.
That's gonna really complicate a 69, but I'm into it.
Well, it's very precise. It's like the Hadron Collider of 69.
That's beautiful. And yeah, for you, sir, let's see. Are you an ass man, a leg man, a tit man, a balls man?
Wow.
Nipple man?
Whoa. Gosh. I mean, not to get real personal, but
Of course not.
I mean, I'd say all the above, but that's boring, right?
All of the above.
Hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably be a dick guy. That's fine.
A dick guy?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Dicks are good.
Hell yeah.
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 Great.
Well, applause for dicks.
Hi, I actually have one too.
Hi.
Each of you have $100 billion, and you're head of like some sort of big company with like 10,000 employees, and you can do anything you want with whatever you want with like Cyanide happiness. So, like, what do you want to do? Open a theme park?
Shit, we could open a theme park.
Multi-movie franchise? What would you do with all that?
By Disney.
It's a great question.
I love the idea of a theme park.
Yeah,
Fun
that is
and
pretty
Happiness
rad.
Land would be pretty cool.
You could like have like a man who could sit anywhere ride.
Where it's just a chair. But for some reason it costs $40 to get on it. There's a huge queue.
Yeah. Yeah, a theme park actually does sound really smart.
Yeah, I think a theme park is definitely a great idea.
It's like, come in here for step right up for the sad ending.
Yeah. Throw knives like the purple shirted eye stabber.
Yeah.
You know? Stuff like that.
Yeah, get in line for it.
I feel like we'd have money left over. No.
That's true.
With 100 million? You know,
100 billion.
Give or take. Billion.
Billion.
Oh, fuck me.
100 billion. I wouldn't mind kind of building some sort of navy, taking him out.
Oh, and taking
keeping-
God out.
keeping-
Is that where this is going?
Make sure he stays on the other side of that wall. That son of a bitch. Because we're gonna have money to spare.
Yeah, I guess we're somehow jumping from comics to arms dealing.
Yeah. Arms dealing and a theme park. I'm pretty sure Walt Disney did the same thing. But Jesus, aside from that, I wouldn't know what to do. Carve it into a mountain. Carve our comics into mountains.
Yep.
Every
sounds
day.
Great.
Yeah.
Plenty of mountains to spare. We can do
Yeah.
that.
Fuck mountains.
Yeah. Mountains are stupid.
Yeah.
No need for them.
Let's make them better. Our question for you is, how much time do we have left?
Like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Really quick. Do another question.
Sing the national anthem.
That's not a question.
Oh, say, can you see?
That's a question.
Oh, there we go. I did one line of it. I don't karaoke much.
Yeah. No worries.
Well, I thought you did a sterling job, and I can't wait to see you at the next baseball game I go to.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, this has been great. This has been so fun. And I hope you'll join us next year for another panel.
Yeah, you know, you guys have been a lot of fun. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. And we'll see you at booth
722.
722.
All weekend. Thank you so much.
She's a boss, unapologetically.
This is Krypton, and this is the story of the House of L. My name is Adam Strange. Someone from the future is coming to destroy Krypton because your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe. Superman.
I've been having this vision.
We are not alone in the universe.
Either rise or you fall.
It's known as the Collector of Worlds, but his true name is Brainiac.
Son of Krypton, your world is at an end. I gotta do what I gotta.
Help me find a way to stop him.
You have to find the fortress.
It's time you learned the truth.
Brainiac is going to rip Kandor from the ground and enslave all of us.
You are Assault. Fight with honor and fight without mercy.
Once this cape is gone, our time's up. Superman will have been wiped from existence.
Light 'em up, light 'em up. Light 'em up, light 'em up, light 'em up.
As of today, our rebel forces have taken control of 1/3 of the former Golra Empire.
Everyone, get to your lions. We're going in. Hold on.
The tide is changing, but we still have a long way to go before the entire universe is free.
All forces, prepare for enemy assault. Stay in formation and don't touch the sides.
Honk!
Think I may have nicked the side a little bit.
Maybe time to consider taking the next step. Our forces combined, you provide the greatest threat Zarkon has ever faced.
Every word is a lie.
This whole thing is like making a deal with the devil. It's the Golra.
They're making a one-time offer.
Don't play into Zarkon's hands. Behold the dawn of a new age of warfare. 3, 2, 1!
My name is Ariel Johnson, and I am the owner and operator of Amalgam Comics and Coffee House located in Philadelphia. The thing that really got me into comics was Storm of the X-Men. I just fell in love with her character. She was the first black woman superhero that I'd ever seen, the first character that looked like me. I wanted to be like her. She was my hero. One of my favorite pastimes after being introduced to Storm through the show was to go outside on a windy day and pretend that I was the one making the wind blow. So I would like look at the trees and try to like estimate when the wind was going to start, and then put my hand up and then the trees would blow and I would like feel like I did it. Previously in things that I've seen, if there were any black or brown characters, they were sidekicks. But when I met Storm, I felt like I could be a part of the adventure. As a woman in these nerd geek spaces, you can feel like you are always being scrutinized. Your nerd cred is always being challenged. I wanted to create a space that is for everyone, so everyone can come in and feel welcome. So if you're a woman, if you're black, if you're gay, if you're trans, it's like we are a space for you. I know, I'll be, a 70-year-old woman still geeking about what happened last week, and did you read the book or whatever. So that will always be me now, and I know that I am now built a career for myself, based on these things that I love. So I get to, geek professionally.
was a king to me. Dead on a path for war. Brothers in arms they fight for. We are the royal throne. Castles we build in black stone till the walls came crumbling down. Yeah, we had it all. Live forever, king and queen. Live forever, king and queen. And you were everything to me. Yeah, we had it all.
Hey, don't touch that dial. Just kidding. TVs don't have dials anymore. Here at Sci-Fi Wire, we bring you The Geek, covering everything in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. From movies, TV, and comics to fans and conventions. We've got interviews, comic previews, and podcasts. We've even got a weird video where I talk about how Harley Quinn wouldn't exist without daytime soaps. We're 24/7, 365 at sci-fi.com, so come visit us.
The story of my family isn't about how we died. It's about how we lived.
Hi, I'm Abby, and today I'm going to be knitting a Krogi sweater for my puppy Logan. Winter is no joke, so I'm going to start by casting on 40 stitches, and then I'm going to rib knit 10 rows. At this point, I'll start widening the sweater. Now, I want to create some space for Logan's legs. All right, it's time to take the black. We're gonna do some color work now. I'm gonna knit 1 row of dark gray, 3 rows of black, and then another row of dark gray, and then it's time to move on to the decreases. As I get closer to the hem, I'm going to start decreasing the stitches. Lastly, I'm gonna rib knit 5 rows. Remember, that's knit 1, purl 1 for the entire row. And when those 5 rows are done, I'm gonna cast off and this part of the sweater is done. You can't forget the cape. I made this one by casting on 45 stitches and then knitting 90 rows of stockinette. That's knit 1 row, purl 1 row. Next, I'll create some tassels to look like the pelt, and then I'm going to comb out the yarn to look like fur. Finally, I'm going to sew the buttons onto my sweater, and then you can finish everything off by attaching the cape. And now, Logan's watch has started. And that is how you make a corgi into a crogi.
Brings us together.
It reminds us that we all have superpowers. And that we scream in the same language.
So what if you lose yourself in Reddit threads or rabbit holes?
It doesn't matter if you're into wizards, dragon queens, space outlaws, or survivors of the zombie apocalypse.
Who cares what you look like, talk like, think like?
All that matters
Is that you love it.
Passion, sure ticket in.
We watch, rewatch, dissect, and freeze frame.
We find meaning where others see make-believe.
We jump into the wormhole and explore the other side.
And while the stories may take place in far-off galaxies, they all have one thing in common.
Us.
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 Because no matter how different
We all are.
This is the place we call home.
I want magic back more than anything.
This is our quest.
Quests are not a solo walk.
When did you get this sweet bow?
Get ready to tuck and roll, bitches, because this boat don't do complete stops.
I know.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Headlocked panel, Wrestling and Comics Collide. Thank you everyone for coming out to this. This is really special because this is the second time I've been able to do this with Michael, and I would love to start with just some intros going down the line. Just simple intros. Michael, go ahead and start it.
Mike Kingston, I'm writer and creator of Headlocked.
Yeah, I'm Mikhail Mulipula, the artist of Headlocked.
And I am Amy Dumas, also known as Via from Voters.
Wrestling Entertainment.
And Michael, let's start off with an origin of Headlocked, because this is really one of the first wrestling comics to, I feel personally, take wrestling seriously. Where did you decide to get the start on this?
So I was a fan of wrestling and comics since I was 8 years old. So the first time I saw George the Animal Steel on Cyanide's main event, I was hooked, and I've been a fan of comics forever. And I bought every wrestling comic that came out when I was a kid, and none of them were very good, I guess. So, you know, it was Undertaker fighting demons and Ultimate Warrior stripping Santa Claus naked. And, you know, a lot of people remember that one. And it just at some point it became apparent they weren't ever going to make the wrestling comic I, as a wrestling fan, wanted to read. So I made my own, and it's called Headlocked.
And Mikkel, how did you get your start with Headlocked? Because Mike has used a ton of people and has gone through a bunch of people doing the art. How did you end up meeting with him?
Yeah, I first met Mike at San Diego Comic-Con 2011. Just a little bit of background. I'm from New Zealand, so if you don't understand, tough. But I'm a pro wrestler and a comic book artist, and I remember meeting Mike because I was like, oh, a wrestling comic. And it looked like a wrestling comic about wrestling. So I struck up a conversation, showed my artwork to Mike, and I remember him going, oh, dude, well, in more colorful language, your stuff's pretty awesome. I was like, oh, we got to do something. So that's kind of how it happened. I just showed up at San Diego, showed off my stuff, and Mike liked it, and we got on really well, and we've been working together ever since, pretty much. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I met Mike and worked on Headlocked.
And Amy, Mike has been traveling a lot with a bunch of different wrestlers. How did you end up meeting up with him and getting involved with Headlocked?
I first met Mike at San Diego Comic-Con with, he was with Hurricane Shane Holmes. Oh, yeah. And we got to chatting, and he told his origin story to me, and thought that was pretty cool to want to, you know, the people are different types of fans. And some people like the kitschiness, some people like it to not be good, some people take it seriously, but some people, what I felt was just like the respect for wanting to do justice to it. And so, yeah, we linked up and hit the road, hang out.
What's the convention life been for you so far? Because it seems to be a different kind of crowd depending on whether you're going to a wrestling convention or a comic book convention. How have the people been for you so far?
So it's been super cool because I would say when we're at live shows, the wrestling fans, it's like as if you're driving on the highway or watching a movie, you know, like I'll honk at you and flick you off, but yet if we were face to face, I'd be like, oh, hey, you know, if maybe you put your signal on, that would be cool. And so my history prior has been like the yelling and screaming and these kind of impersonal relationships, whereas Comic-Con is coming full circle and getting to put personalities and stories and how I affected them or what they remember doing when I was doing something on TV, and blending those together has been cool to get the intimate side of the fan interaction through Comic-Cons.
Nice. And Michael, I want to talk a little bit about the origin of wrestling and how everyone got involved with all of those, because two of the panelists here are wrestlers. But Michael, with you talked about George the Animal Steel, but you've attended a lot of wrestling events and such as a fan, and then being able to work through, meeting with all of the people and kind of getting into not necessarily the backstage vibes or anything like that, but you get to meet a lot of people in the wrestling business. How has wrestling how have you come to participate in it more than just writing your book?
Well, I mean, I've always been a fan, and it's funny for me now because, like, you know, when I was a kid, wrestling was real, and then it wasn't as much, but now, like, I'm friends with so many people, like, it's kind of real again. You know what I mean? Like, I want my friends to do well, so I want them to win, and you know, like Christopher Daniels won the Ring of Honor title last year, and I've been a friend of, we've been friends for a while, and like I got like a little emotional for that because I know what it meant to him just to get that kind of recognition, and it was cool, like we're wrestling sort of, I don't know, like I said, it's real to me again, I'm friends with Joe and AJ, and I want to see those guys do really well on that stage, and when Shane came back for the Royal Rumble, like, I popped huge. Like, I had no idea, and I mean, it was so cool to see Amy in the Rumble, and like it's just cool seeing, people that I consider friends or I'm friendly with or whatever to be doing well, and to have good things happen for them.
It's got to be interesting on that point too, because there's a lot of people that you look up to in a celebrity fashion, but now also in a friend fashion. It's got to be kind of neat when you are working with one of these wrestlers to help write for Headlocked, and then you get to see them do something and you get stoked for that. But it's got to be the other way as well. They've got to be just as stoked to see the fact that you've come from, coming from the beginnings of Headlocked to where you are now, and you're still churning and churning. They got to be stoked for you as well.
Yeah, everybody's been great. Like, I feel like the wrestling business has been like a big brother to me in some ways. I remember I was in Nashville for I think it was an NXT show, and it was when Joe was down there, and I was at a bar with Joe and Eric Young, and I had just gotten an order, and it was like a $19,000 order of books. And it was really, cool. And like they both like just gave me big hugs, and it was like a genuine thing. You know what I mean? Like, and then I just did stories with Joe and AJ for the WWE comic, and I've known them forever, and it was an opportunity for us to work together, but also them, giving a brother a leg up. So I mean, it's really cool.
It's got to be interesting. Just I feel for you because. Working on Headlocked and then working with the WWE with their comic as well. Is it hard to? Do you have storylines on those where they just give those to you and you've got to figure out what's going on with it, or is it still your own? Is it your own entity, your own baby with those stories?
Yeah, I like to fill plot holes, and so I did the story I did with AJ for the Royal Rumble comic covers from the time he leaves the locker room to the time he debuts. And it sort of ties his feud together with John Cena, I think, nicely. It's a big production, and there's lots of moving parts, and I think sometimes some of the nuances get caught and, thrown by the wayside. And I'm a nerd, and I'll be like, why did this? Why, they didn't talk about this. And so that's kind of what I've been doing with those stories. The story I did with Joe was about why he and Nakamura didn't get drafted in the first brand split, because to me that was just a gaping plot hole. And so I think too, guys as storytellers want their stories to be complete, so it's an easy sell and everybody seem to dig them.
It kind of reminds me along the lines of the Star Wars comic books that are bridging in between the movies. You're able to fill those, like you said, just fill it so people can because the geek is going to consume everything. They're going to want all of those different things. And I mean, Michaela, you're a gigantic geek when it looks like just looking at like the list of all of the things.
Are you talking about my girth or about my passion?
No, sir. Don't worry about that. But you are really in between bridging everybody here because you are a comic book artist, but you're a wrestler in New Zealand. So how does wrestling really affect your everyday life?
When I wake up, I feel it. I got to do a bit of stretching and cracking and bits and pieces. That's how wrestling affects my everyday life. But for me, it's just another form of storytelling. Like Mike says, the wrestlers are storytellers, and comic books and pro wrestling are the mediums I choose to tell stories. It's just that one hurts the body, the other hurts the soul. But yeah, it's crazy. Like I fell in love with wrestling because of comics. Because as a kid growing up, I always imagined these comics coming to life, and we didn't have Marvel films, like we do now. So when I first saw pro wrestling, the bold characters, the bright colors, the good versus evil, to me as a kid, I was like, this is comic books in real life, and so I instantly fell in love with it. And then now, I get to choose. I get to live two dreams pretty much as a pro wrestler and as a comic book artist. And there's a lot of correlation between the two mediums. And so I get to enjoy both. And now I've been wrestling for about 12 years now. Wow. And I've kind of taken more of a backstage kind of position in Impact Pro Wrestling, which is the home promotion in New Zealand. I'm a booker as well, and it's kind of great as well being a booker because I get to create stories for others to play out. Again, it's about storytelling and being able to kind of have my stories be told by up and coming talent and see them thrive and do well in that is also kind of a great feeling as well. Like I don't need the pop. I need them to tell the story that I want them to.
Well, because at that point, I mean, if somebody else gets the pop for something that you've had a hand in, I mean, I know for me, a lot of the times, if I'm producing something and putting something together, I feel just as good if somebody else can get there for, like, me just helping them along with that.
Yeah, no, like, you know, when I stepped into booking duties, I didn't expect that kind of feeling until seeing the talent really tell those stories really well. I'm like, oh man, like that sense of pride and being able to help people tell those stories, it was something totally unexpected. I just expected to just go, oh, here's the story I want you to tell. But yeah, no, it's kind of great.
Now he gets the pop when he turns in the artwork. Oh, look at this.
Has wrestling and just being able to be in the ring helped your art when you're drawing some of the wrestling?
Yeah, totally. My wrestling experience helps kind of allow me to illustrate pro wrestling in a respectful and correct way as well. And like, you know, being in New Zealand, sometimes you're thinking, oh, the stuff we learn, is it internationally recognized? And some of my favorite comments are from guys like Christopher Daniels or Frankie Kazarian, who came up to me and they're like, dude, we love your artwork. It's like legit. You know, he's like, and I'm like, oh, cool. The stuff I'm teaching, because I also teach pro wrestling in New Zealand, like the stuff we're teaching and learning is correct. And I throw in little Easter eggs like that for workers who read Headlocked, because, again, I want them to understand that we're respectful of the art form of pro wrestling. And so, yeah.
And Amy, as a pro wrestler for many years and WWE Hall of Famer, I think many people will know your origin, but I'd love for you to tell it to the people, because it seems, at least you know, according to the interviews and stuff that I've read and watched and been following you for a long time, you have a pretty interesting introduction into the world of wrestling itself.
Yeah, I'll do the slightly condensed version so that. But so I got into wrestling later in life, and I wasn't something I grew up around. It was my boyfriend's, his dude time, you know. It was like, don't come in the room, and I come in there to ask him a question and just kept finding myself getting sucked in longer and longer into the room, watching what was going on. At the time, I was playing in bands and doing martial arts, and I just almost started watching it as an art form and not so much as a fan, like appreciating it, but being like, wow, that's a cool gig. Well, look what they're doing. And I would find myself getting caught up in the stories. And so very quickly after watching it was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do, you know. And so the style that I was drawn to was the lucha libre style of wrestling, which they're from Mexico. So I decided, not knowing really any other way, the internet app being super developed, to go down there and just kind of start walking around asking where the lucha libre was and how to get into that, and just maintain my story for 6 weeks, and finally, you know, getting to see everyone in the office and the wrestlers. They're like, this girl has been here every single match for 6 weeks, and she keeps telling the same story, that she wants to be a wrestler. And so, you know, they finally hooked me up and said I could come back for training, and then just from there, just kind of started inching my way along, and came to an ECW tryout and was there for a little bit. Dory Funk was doing the Funking Dojo, getting wrestlers prepped to go on TV, and was doing his own camp, so I did that. He showed my tape. We had tapes back then. Put it in that VCR, push play. And so Jim Ross and Bruce Pritchard at the time were talent relations and called me up there and asked me to be a part of the team and to be paired initially with S.A. Rios, who I watched as Mr. Aguila in Mexico when I was down there. You know, you couldn't have told me that starting on Heat with him was a bad spot or a bad debut, because I was so happy to be there with him, kind of connected from that lucha libre style, and we just kind of caught on from there.
What do you think? You know, I want to accentuate on the positive and such on this, but having started and still out there wrestling today, I mean, congratulations on being a part of the WWE Women's Royal Rumble. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. What are some of the changes that you've seen over the years that you feel have helped women in wrestling in general, and just in wrestling in general, because it's gone a long ways from, you know, the 60s, the 70s to the 80s, where it was super big into pop culture, the 90s with the Attitude, and then so forth. How do you feel about the changes, the positive ones?
Yeah, I mean, I think one huge thing that has helped specifically WWE is the Performance Center, because for us to, I mean, those everyone in there gets 7 days of ring time, you know, and for me to have 7 days of ring time would be, you know, depending on, you know, if I was full-time on the road or what, but I mean, it's taking me way more than 7 days to get 7 days of ring time, so we're really getting, I just saw my hat here on the screen and it looks weird, but anyways. But those people are getting, like, you know, a year of ring time is probably like 3 years of our ring time for how much they get in the ring, and so that's really helping. And then being able to see that success, I think, is allowing people on the indies and to kind of expand. Everybody wants to kind of do what WWE is doing, but then also be like, we want to do something different and then offer something different, which is going to open up different avenues and doors for people that wouldn't necessarily be recognized in the WWE, combined with, you know, speaking of other positive changes of these people on the indies making their own brand and being their own star, and they don't have to be with the biggest company. They don't have to be with WWE, because they can do Patreon and they can make their own shirts and their own merch, and they can still carve their own identity, get their own following just through, you know, YouTube and the internet and everything like that. And that's been an awesome positive change, that you can carve your own path a lot easier than you could before.
It's always fun to see people be able to do that, and it's interesting to me, the indie circuit, because it's gotten I don't know necessarily if it's gotten bigger in terms, because I think it's always been there, but at the same point now we have the internet and things are able to go, and you can follow your favorite wrestler wherever they go, and you know, they can travel around all over the world. And Mikkel, you have wrestled all over the world.
No, I haven't.
You have not?
Just Australia. But there's a whole
well,
other world.
It's
but
a far ways away from me, you know. But even at that point, you still have a outside of the big wrestling promotions mindset on that. How has that been different for you in terms of viewing something like the WWE and then being a part of the indie wrestling scene?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm still of that kind of old school mentality of in-ring storytelling. I'm not a huge fan of the indie black gruts, black kick pads, elbows, forearms, super kicks galore and stuff. I hate that stuff. I'm very much about the storytelling aspect, the ring psychology, and I try and incorporate that into the training in New Zealand. I tell a lot of the young guys, stop watching YouTube because you're watching highlights. You know, watch the full story. So yeah, but it's interesting, like just watching the scene as well. Like, you know, seeing New Japan coming up, and having more of a global share in the wrestling market. Seeing some of the stuff that WWE do well, some of the stuff they sometimes don't do well. One of the things I actually really enjoy that they're doing is the mixed match challenge. One of my favorite matches of recently was the Goldust Mandy Rose one, because it was old school storytelling. Like Goldust, you could tell Goldust was running that match, and I absolutely loved it because it was a lot of Gaga, it was a lot of ring psychology. They did nothing for 5 minutes, but the crowd was hot for it, and I was like, that's the best because it saves your bump card. But so yeah, so I do keep an eye on that stuff. I don't watch too much because a lot of the stuff on the internet is very indie, flippy based. You know, super kick. You know,
you really hate a super kick, don't you?
It's just because every guy does one. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to see another super kick or 6 super kicks in one match. Even though I do like the Young Bucks, I'm not a big fan of some of the stuff they do. But you know, but you know, that's the cool thing about wrestling, and they're very much like comics. There's so many genres, so many styles that appeal to different audience members. So what not necessarily works for me may work for you. So.
Then I would imagine that you're, and I'm absolutely assuming here, so you can totally shoot me down on this, but I would assume that you would enjoy Lucha Underground a bit.
I do, yeah.
Stories.
Yeah, no, like you know, it's kind of like Lucha, like in a lot of the stuff they do is like flippy and stuff, but like it's very impressive. because a lot of stuff you don't usually see. But I love how they've kind of found a middle ground between like the kayfabe stuff and then the in-ring action stuff. So I do really enjoy Lucha Underground. Also because there's a lot of brown people wrestling too. I'm all about diversity. Down with Whitey. No, that's another reason why I like Lucha Underground.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Michael, a lot of people don't really understand how much work really is involved in not only creating these comics, but also the fact that you've got to schlep yourself around to convention to convention to convention, all while, maintaining a lifestyle for yourself in terms of actually working another job to get this going. I want you to detail really how much hard work you have to put in to make this happen, your dream happen.
So it's a little crazy. I mean, I don't sell my stuff through comic book stores. Everything we built from the ground up. I have when I first did my first print run of Headlocked, I worked 2 jobs for a year to pay for enough money to, get a round of convention tables, to pay for our first print run, get a couple shirts to try to get it going. I work about 60, 65 hours a week. You may have seen me on my phone during this panel. I am literally managing my warehouse from here. I manage a warehouse. I had a bunch of guys call in, so I'm kind of dealing with that now. And that's kind of my life. I work nights. The first day of every convention, I do on no sleep. West Coast is different because I don't fly and then go right to the show. But if I do an East Coast convention, I'll literally leave my job and go right to the airport and fly to a show and take a cab to the show and set up and do the first day on no sleep so I can turn my schedule 24 hours, and then I do the show for 3 days, and then I fly home, and then I go right to work from the airport or whatever. I'll go home and do my laundry and then go to
you
work.
guys don't follow Headlocked Comics on Twitter, you should, because he
Absolutely.
documents this and shows you. He'll be like,
Yeah.
I think this makes sense. I haven't slept in 2 days, but I got I made it to the press.
And it's a little crazy, but honestly, it's the only way it was ever going to work. When I first pitched Headlock, I pitched it to every comic book company, around, and I mean, literally, someone laughed in my face. I mean, everybody said no. People were dicks. I mean, whatever. So
And
the
now
only
that
way,
The Rock tweeted you back, everybody's trying to fill up your voicemail, huh?
Yeah.
but it's we built it. I was selling it out of my backpack at wrestling shows to start, and now I'm doing 4 conventions this month, so it's it's crazy, but it's still all self-financed and whatnot. So we're hoping to change that, I guess. But
Yeah, I think that's one thing that gets a lot of wrestlers on board with our project is not only that we're respectful of the art form, but the fact that we have the same hustle as pro wrestlers. You can't escape the hustle. They see us grinding, they see us hustling, and it reminds them of their own hustles. And so I think that's why a lot of pro wrestlers kind of back us, because not only is it a good project, but they understand the grind that we're going through as well to get the project out there.
And I think that's important to note because, there might be somebody out here who is interested, saying, I can write, I can draw, I can wrestle, and you need to be able to put yourself out there, which is not easy for a lot of people, and continue on that grind. So I think it's really commendable for all 3 of you to be able to continue to keep doing that and living your dream, and really essentially at this point, the way you guys want to live it.
Yeah, well, I flew 14 hours just to get here, and that's one of those things where if you have a dream and you're very passionate about it, you find ways to make it work. Mike works 60 hours a week and he still does conventions, still travels a lot. I train pro wrestlers, I book pro wrestling, but then I also find time to draw. I also work part-time at a comic book store. I also a semi-pro Tekken gamer. As well.
Really?
So people are like, how do you make it work? And I said, I have no idea. I just make it work. I just manage to find time to make it work. And so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing too. And you see, when you talk to kind of the common DIY spirit, is to figure out how to navigate the roadblocks. Because you might have an end game, but it's I always say, what's one step you can do today to get towards that goal? And that that path is going to constantly change and navigate, and it's the people that can stay with adjusting the path that will end up making it, because the way you think that you're going to get to your goal will never most likely be the way you get to it, but that you can just kind of keep being adaptable and figure out that way. As long as, I always say too, like, as long as the positives still outweigh the negatives, because it's not every day is great and the things, get you down. And at some point, if it outweighs it, then it's time to find a different path or a new goal. But as long as your percentage is like over there, the good outweighs it, then that should be worth it, right? To keep finding ways around those roadblocks.
When you do what you love, I think you don't, I don't feel any comics related pain. I mean, I feel like old man pain, but I'll do the shows and I'm cool with it. I'll go from show to show to show, and I'm doing LA WonderCon, and then I work for 3 days, and then I'm going to DC, and then I'm doing the show, and then I'm flying right to New Orleans, and I've got 12 things at WrestleMania booked that weekend, and I won't feel any of that. 6 hours at Thanksgiving with my in-laws, I feel every minute of that. But if you're doing what you love, it does kind of help sustain you through some of the more difficult times.
Yeah, going along that same kind of pro wrestling analogy, you just take your bumps, you bump and feed, you take the bumps, you take the knock, but you get back up, and that's how I kind of feel when you're chasing your dream. There are a lot of roadblocks. There's a lot of things in your way. It's hard. But you got to take your bumps and keep getting back up.
Amy did mention this a little bit, but I want you to detail your Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson interactions. Because, frankly, as a person who's known you for a while now, I was extremely excited for you when I saw that he just tweeted at you. You got to tell me how, and everyone out here, how that went about.
So it's kind of a crazy story. I saw that The Rock was going to be at the Stanley Comic-Con in LA, and he doesn't do conventions, and it's a small convention. He'll do San Diego, but you never see anybody at San Diego. So I feel like this is my best opportunity to get my books in the man's hands. Because that's always the goal. You want somebody who understands wrestling if you're going to take it to the next, another platform. So, I asked my wife, the day that he's appearing at Stanley Comic-Con is the same day of my 16th wedding anniversary, and also 4 days before my wife is having major surgery. She's a saint, and she's like, yeah, go chase your silly dream. And so I booked the flight, and I got it all squared away, and then I start calling some of my friends, figuring somebody knows The Rock. I called Flair and Jerry Lawler and Mick Foley and whatever, hey, can you maybe just put a word in for The Rock, so I can get him some books? And everybody's like, nobody's got his number. He's not that guy anymore. He's the biggest movie star in the world. You can't just call him. Now I'm like, shit. So I got this flight booked on my anniversary. If I come away with nothing, I'm kind of dead. So I basically made a Twitter appeal to The Rock. I wrote something, and I got a bunch of my wrestling friends to retweet it, and it made its way into his radar. And so he gave me the opportunity to pitch Headlocked to him as a potential TV show. And we're still kind of, playing around or whatever. I get emails from his people, and we're haggling and stuff. But I have all my appendages crossed because, it'd be nice to only work one job. So that's... It's been crazy to think that, and it's funny too, because the minute that happened, my phone, people I don't know or, haven't talked to in years or whatever, oh, hey, that's amazing. It's because you're kind of off in your little world doing comics and wrestling stuff and whatever. And then normal mainstream people are like, hey, this is cool. So my wife's aunt is like, oh, I've seen him on TV. So, it's neat. But yeah, so if it's something that maybe you people would like to see happen, get on the old Twitter machine and,
At Headlocked Comic on Twitter.
Yeah, let the Rock and $7 production know what you think.
Yeah, I think if you've seen the
unless
tweet,
you think we suck, then just keep that to yourself.
If you've seen the tweet and the open letter, I think the real selling point wasn't exactly Headlocked, was the fact that I'm Samoan. And I think that's what crossed it over the line. And The Rock's like, The Rock's like, that's my oos. I'm gonna back this guy. So
Always gotta have to be, man. That's how it works.
gotta play the ethnicity card. You know, that's my selling point.
And now, Mike, I really feel that has got to be kind of maybe is this really happening right now moment for you? Like, is there anything that has really topped that at this point for you on your journey?
I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, I've had a lot of cool, for a dude that manages a warehouse in upstate New York and does an independent comic. Like, I've got to do a lot of cool stuff. I was a guest at WrestleMania a couple of years back in like a little VIP booth, and that was pretty neat. Like 2K Sports was like had us up there. It was fully catered. Like that was a neat thing. I was at a Playboy party at San Diego Comic-Con, drinking with Ryan Reynolds. Like that was kind of neat, you know. Like I've had lots of like cool, crazy stuff happen, but you know, in 3 days this will be over, and I'll be yelling at rednecks. So that's don't tell them I said that. So
Mikhail,
keeps you grounded.
Yeah, Mikhail, what has been a is this really happening moment for you? Whether it be with your wrestling, with your art, or any of those sort of things, where you're just like, I can't really believe this is going on right now, but it's pretty freaking awesome.
It's crazy. As a Samoan kid growing up in New Zealand, I kind of just love everything that happens, really, because a lot of this is new territory or foreign territory. And so I just take everything as it comes, and I absolutely love every interaction I have. But I think one of the interactions where I was just like, how did the Samoan kid find himself here, was at New York Comic Con in 2016. And to the left of me was Jerry the King Lawler, and to the right of me was Ric Flair. And me and Jerry are having good chinwag. And it's Comic Con, right? So you see all these awesome costumes. And from the distance, me and Jerry see this cosplay. We're like, man, that looks so legit. That's a really good job on that cosplay. So me and Jerry go back to our conversation, and as we're talking, that cosplayer comes up and goes, "Hey Jerry, hey Rick." Me and Jerry look up. It's the real Sting.
Whoa!
Yeah, and Sting was filming stuff with Nickelodeon, like in full costume, and so I just looked up and I was just like, what? But that was crazy. Like again, like a kid from New Zealand, like that kind of interaction would have not been possible if I didn't make the trek out to New York and stuff. But in terms of my art, I think one thing that really hit home was seeing my name on issue 13 of WWE Comics, which me and Mike worked on with Samoa Joe. And I never, it was one of those things that I didn't expect. And so I got my copies of WWE 13, and I saw my name on my last name, specifically Molipola, on the cover, and I was dumbfounded because it made me realize all the sacrifices my family made to leave Samoa for New Zealand. Like that's like in the Samoan culture, your name is everything. It holds your reputation and it has a lot of respect. And so I was quite dumbfounded to see my name there, and I almost cried, but I'm too manly. I almost cried because I remember my grandparents. You know, they moved to New Zealand. They moved to New Zealand in 1967, and I just remember having that feeling of immense pride of being able to, even though my grandparents aren't here anymore, I kind of felt like I honored them by seeing my name on their cover. So it wasn't necessarily my artwork; it was just my name.
It's a big thing on that.
Yeah.
Amy, there's got to be, I mean, multiple, I would imagine, but what was one or two of those? What is really happening? Is this really going on?
I think one was probably pretty early on. Trish and I had just started our feud, so we hadn't even been on television long with the company, and they told us I was tag team partners with The Rock, and Trish was teamed up with Triple H. And it was just funny. Like, we were just sitting there on the side while Pat Patterson was putting the match together and talking amongst ourselves, like, how do we land in this spot here? And that was like a first surreal, like, whoa, I think this is actually kind of a real thing happening. And then another one was after I was retired, about a year maybe. Pee Wee Herman was like a special guest on Raw, and I'm such a huge fan. And so I called the writers, and I was like, dude, you have to put me in a skit with Pee Wee. And they were like, yeah, all right. And so, I got to be in a Twister skit with Pee Wee Herman, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, like you just mentioned, just the love of Pee Wee Herman. Outside of wrestling and all of that, do you really uber geek out about other stuff like that? Like,
So Pee Wee's like here, like the next thing I geek out over would be like here, if Pee Wee's here. Like, yeah, I just my brother's 5 years younger than me, and to me, my mom, my brother, it was just like that was our thing growing up, and it was like we didn't have a lot in common at that phase growing up, but it was one thing. And what's cool is I hear that a lot about wrestling, to be like that's the one thing in our household. Even if we're arguing or I'm annoyed at my sister or whatever, we all get together and sit there, and that's what makes that special connection with it. And so for me, it was Pee Wee's Playhouse and Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and yeah, we could all agree on that.
Mike, is there anything? Do you have enough time to geek out about anything else? Is there anything that you're down for? I
get really excited about food. If any of you follow me on,
you guys like food?
If any of you guys follow me on social media, I did a convention in Toronto. It was my third show, and it was a horrible experience. I got sick. My cash box got stolen. Like, my box of books broke and went down the escalator. Like, it was enough to make you want to quit. Like, it was a tough day. And so I always decided, like, from that point on, I was going to make sure that I had a good memory independent of the show, no matter what. So, I never went anywhere for most of my, I grew up reasonably poor or whatever. I didn't go anywhere for a long time. And so I wanted to make sure I had a good memory independent of the show in case the show sucked. And I'm a fat ass, so I try to find like the best restaurants in town and put large quantities of food into the hole under my nose. And it seems like it's working out for me. I had somebody come up to me at a show like, "Hey, I follow you on Instagram," and I'm like, "Oh, do you like the book?" He's, "No, I want to see what you're gonna eat next." So
start a Patreon, and people will fund your food.
Start a wrestling.
I think there's a Travel Channel show where we go to conventions and go to restaurants with different wrestlers and just eat and talk shit.
Mikkel, anything outside of what we've talked about that you really geek out about?
Meeting comic creators that I grew up admiring. Comics is my first love. I love wrestling, but comics is my first love, and so I enjoy kind of just meeting creators that I've admired from afar because it's 14 hours away. But yeah, no, that's kind of that kind of thing. Oh, actually, no, when I was at LA Comic Con, the Stanley Comic Con, I geeked out over James Hong. Lopan, Big Trouble in Little China, which is like my favorite movie. He was right next door to Bad Luck Fale and I turned around and went, "Oh, it's Lopan!" I was like, so I had to get a photo of him. Had to get a photo of Phil Lamar as well. I love his Samurai Jack work, and I love all kinds of. I'm a huge geek, so I love all kinds of pop culture, and so little things like that I do geek over because a lot of times we don't get them in New Zealand. We do have a convention in New Zealand, but a lot of times, like the people I want to see won't make it down. So I still geek out over a lot because, again, I appreciate everything, every opportunity I get.
Being able to reach out to those people and have you been able to foster any sort of mentoring relationships, or do you have a mentor, someone who you're able to talk to, bounce ideas off of, or even just kind of get stuff off of your chest?
Not hard out like that, but I have gained a lot of new friends, which is weird. One of the friends that I've made through Headlocked and his love of wrestling is Ed McGuinness. I always loved his work, Deadpool and Superman, Batman and stuff. And then when I met him and found out he was a wrestling fan, and then he had heard of Headlocked, I was just like, oh, crap. And then I think when I saw him in New York, he gave me like the biggest hug, and I was like, oh.
It's like, yes.
Oh, we're friends like that? Oh, okay, cool, sweet. And so I was like, I'm gonna take that. And then like Sanford Green as well.
Really?
Yeah, he's from North Carolina. So he's a huge Flair fan.
Okay, yeah.
And so like that, like those guys are good friends. Joel Gomez and Beth Sotelo, who are in the artist alley as well. I met them when they came to New Zealand. So a lot of times, I kind of like if people come to New Zealand, I try and befriend them. Or when I go to conventions, I just chat with them. And being from New Zealand and talking funny, a lot of people remember you because they see thousands and thousands of Americans But then that one person that kind of sticks out is usually someone like me who's brown and talks funny. So I use my diversity as a selling point. And so, yeah, that's why I love coming to conventions and that face-to-face interaction, because that face-to-face interaction is so valuable, especially in this day and age of social media. There's just so much of it, being able to kind of sell yourself face-to-face.
Speaking of social media, how do you guys feel about it in the terms of being able to be in contact with your fans? And I mean, trolls aside, usually at that point, don't engage with them or try to do it as little as possible. But do you feel that social media has been a boon in the same way that just the internet as a whole has helped out with indie wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, for me, absolutely. I mean, it was years before anybody in the comic book media would even consider talking to me. Probably really just last year for the first time. And I mean, we'd been going to shows and, me and Jerry, and we'd, have big lines and sell books. And I mean, I know I was selling more books than a ton of established creators. And, but because we weren't in the direct market or whatever, like we weren't considered anything. So, I mean, social media has allowed us to really take everything to the people and let them sort of decide. And, Kickstarter is how we made everything happen. And that's, I mean, we wouldn't exist, honestly, if it wasn't for social media, I don't think. And, wrestling and comics, let's be honest, they both have some rough subsections of their fandom, but we've really sort of been lucky and dodged most of that. I don't know. Everybody's just been super supportive and nice and whatever. So I really couldn't have asked for a better experience in that regard.
Amy, same question about the mentoring. Did you have, when you were coming up in wrestling, did you have a mentor? Are there people that you still talk to about all of those things, or have you yourself become a mentor? Because I know you have trained wrestlers as well. Was there a shift in that for you at any point, or is it still you look? Oops, sorry. Jeez. You still look at look up to people to help you out in terms of wrestling, or just getting through anything really?
Yeah, I mean, coming up, there was a group of us that leaned on each other a lot. It was, Edge, Christian, the Hardys, Jericho. We'd kind of always be the Dudleys sometimes, but I'll be every meal after, constantly on the road, and it was nice just to have that support system. But I'd say that was kind of like everyone together, not as like a mentoring basis. Mm-hmm. But then, more recently, after my stint with Tough Enough, I was coaching some of the women and producing at WWE, and developed a really close relationship with both Becky and Charlotte, and talk to them on a really regular basis. And it's nice to be able to kind of be there for them in a way that I wished somebody was there for me, that you're not going to know unless you're specifically there as a woman trying to navigate. And I feel really fortunate to be able to have that relationship with them and be able to pass on that knowledge. And the knowledge that I have, it's very, very valuable, but only to a really small amount of people. So.
To that end, in addition to that question, if someone, and I have to imagine people come to you at whether it be these conventions or wrestling conventions or just seeing you out there and be like, I want to do what you have done. I know there's no short answer to that, but give me one.
So especially when people are younger, I always just say, working out and pick up a martial art. Find one that appeals to you, because that base is just going to be really valuable. And then it will also see if you have the coordination, determination to kind of show up for something on the daily before you branch off and commit to, taking it towards professional wrestling training. And then I just say, get everything on camera and with social media, and the fans will decide. If you just get it out there and it's good enough, then you will be recognized. And that's the beauty of the instant feedback we do live in with social media access.
Awesome. Mike, tell us about what you have coming up with Headlocked.
All right, so we're working on Volume 4 right now. We're doing a WonderCon exclusive with Jeff Cobb, working on a couple other short stories with a bunch of different guys. I'm the worst. I keep putting stuff on my plate when I should probably get more stuff done, but I don't really say no to opportunities. And probably too, the part of the problem is WWE keeps signing everybody, so I gotta work with them before they come off the board. So that creates issues as well. But we're gonna collect the Tales from the Road books we've been doing for WrestleCrate that are a lot of fun, and probably add some new content there. And going to be doing an anthology with stories all by female wrestlers, probably by the end of the year. And I'm doing some more work for the WWE comics, and I don't know, hopefully making a television show with The Rock.
That would be outstanding. Mikkel, some of the things that you're working on?
Yeah, so Headlocked Volume 4. I'm also working on a children's book about the High Chief Peter Maivia. Some more WWE work in the pipeline as well. Yeah, just a whole bunch of bits and pieces and booking good stories, hopefully. It's just a whole bunch of conventions as well. I'll be back stateside, hopefully, if all plans go ahead in July for SuperCon in Florida and San Diego, as well as Evo in Vegas. Got to get some video gaming in there. Hopefully you get to smash Xavier Woods and Tekken. I've seen them play, and he's okay, but I'll totally smash him.
Nothing compared.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just say this: when Kenny Omega came to New Zealand, he smashed me at Street Fighter V because I'm not a Street Fighter player. When I asked him to play Tekken, he declined.
Ooh.
And if Kenny can't beat Xavier, it's like, So that's kind of what I've got on my plate at the moment.
Nice. And Amy, what have you got going on?
First of all, I have a text to put in to Xavier and let him know. That's the first on my plate.
I've got people who want to set that up at Evo, so I'm like,
so I'll be on the road with Mike and Headlocked more this year as well. I was kind of pop in and out of WWE sometimes, a little cameo here and there. And then next in a couple weeks, I'll be filming a new show that I'm doing on this channel called SYFY, which if you follow my social media, you can catch up with. And it'll be about UFOs, but it's also just about kind of like road tripping and roadside attractions and weird stuff I find along the way. And have we been visited right now?
Yeah, I was about to say.
I know you said that.
The truth is out there.
So are you really interested in the UFO stuff? That's awesome.
Yeah, is there another panel I can sign up for? We could talk about that.
We just kind of turned
that could be the government trying to shut down the indie talk. Person of interest?
Before we get out of here, guys, first off, thank you very much for being a part of this. Please, everybody, follow them on social media. Please give out the social media so people can do that. Tweet out maybe some props, maybe some props to The Rock and get stuff happening, but throw it out for everyone.
Everything is Headlocked Comic. It's one word. It's my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
It's the easiest thing. Then we're all linked to that. Just go to Headlocked Comic and you're done. One stop.
And so it's all run by me. So if you got questions or if anybody's looking to break into comics and whatever, I mean, I try to help out people that have, because I was on the other side of the table. I try to give people decent advice and not to make all the same mistakes I did. So, hit a brother up.
Right on.
Yeah, my stuff, pretty much, you don't even have to know my name or know how to spell it because it's Samoan. But my website is www.bloodysamoan.com. My Instagram is Bloody Samoan Art. My Twitter is Bloody Samoan. My PSN is Bloody Samoan. You don't even have to know my name. You just go Google Bloody Samoan, you'll see my face.
See, people take my name. I try to go get my name on things, and it's taken. So I have my name on Twitter, but on Instagram, it's my nickname. It's Machete Girl. And sometimes I post, and sometimes I don't. I leave you mysterious like that. So.
How'd you get that nickname?
So I have a place in Nicaragua, and you can just wield a machete from your hip if you want to. So naturally, I do. And but I'm the only white girl down there with a machete hanging from her hip, so I'm the Machete Girl.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you for attending this panel. Really do appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We're at booth 1204 all weekend, so come say hey.
Hi.
Yep.
It's up on the 6th.
No, we're on
fourth floor.
Fourth floor. Yeah, we're
booth 1204.
Yeah,
yep.
that's. We're in the back building all the way to the left.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As of today, our rebel forces have taken control of 1/3 of the former Golra Empire.
Everyone, get to your lions. We're going in. Hold on.
The tide is changing, but we still have a long way to go before the entire universe is free.
All forces, prepare for enemy assault.
Stay in formation and don't touch the sides.
Punk! Think I may have nicked the side a little bit.
Maybe time to consider taking the next step. Our forces combined. You would provide the greatest threat Zarkon has ever faced.
Every word is a lie.
This whole thing is like making a deal with the devil. It's the Golra.
They're making a one-time offer.
Don't play into Zarkon's hands.
Behold the dawn of a new age of warfare.
3, 2, 1!